excitement. Artist Gilmore and Mel Daniels shake hands. 6'9" Daniels, 7'2" Gilmore, the Colonels in the dark, in the blue, and John Vanek gets things rolling. Darnell Hillman and now Freeman and George McGinnis takes the first pop. Walt Simon sends George McGinnis down. Issel to Simon. Darnell Hillman. And he tosses it away. And John, in that rebound department, the Pacers have consistently grabbed more missed shots than the Colonels.
Well, this is where they have turned the game around. They outbounded the Colonels by 25 in Louisville the other night. The Colonels have got to do a better job, especially on the offensive board. They can't expect artists to do it at both ends of the court.
Gilmore to Issel. Issel over Hillman. Freeman on the hop, and Simon beating in, knocks it to Mount. Mount to a cutting Louis Dampier. Dampier has knotted things. 2-2, almost a minute gone in quarter one.
Great alert play by Simon and knocking the ball out of the Freeman's hand that time and letting Mount getting the pass out to Dampier. I thought he might give it to Dan, but he took the shot himself.
Freddie Lewis. Down goes Dampier, and McGinnis shot will not fall. 2-2, we played just over a minute. Sy with a nice move, and he skirts around George McGinnis, and they call it against the big guy from IU.
Walt has to watch for that stuttering step now. You might get away with it at the beginning, but you won't get away with it in the last quarter.
Here it is once again. And he just paralyzed. McGinnis and George reached around there and then said, I think I'll try to draw the charge. Walt Simon's first, the Colonels' initial lead at 3-2, 10:45 in the first quarter. Lewis, baseline jumper. 4-3, Indiana. Simon working against McGinnis' pressure. Issel shot, no, but Artis is there to follow it in for two. Kentucky 5, Indiana 4.
A great offensive rebound. We're talking. That tears the heart out of a ball club. If they get one shot and you get the offensive rebound, then they play a little tougher on defense, or they have to. They know they're going to lose it.
Donnie Freeman working in the corner. McGinnis in there a long time. They call interference on Artis Gilmore. Give George McGinnis the field goal.
Artis has got to forget about that now. Those things will happen. Don't worry about them now. Worry about them in the last quarter.
6-5 Indiana lead. They've created it a couple of times so far, and we are only about 2 minutes gone. Gilmore with a move and a hoop. Artis has 4. The Colonels grab the advantage. 7-6, 9:45 in the first quarter. Freeman. Seven, Indiana Pacers. Rick Mount, and it will drop. And again, the rebound hits the floor before a Pacer can get to it. Lewis trying to penetrate. Walt Simon, and I think George very alertly was pushed a little and helped it along. McGinnis has 5. The Pacers lead 9-7, and nearly 3 minutes have ticked away.
All right, here's one maneuver there that might hurt the Colonels in the long run. The guard should bring the ball up and let Artis go down and set up. You know, every time he comes down and handles the ball, there might 6 seconds go by. That's 120 seconds in a game. Perhaps that's 2 minutes. They might need those 2 minutes at the end.
Artis Gilmore has 6, and we are even for the second time at 9. 8:45 in the first quarter. Daniels. Couldn't control it, but he kept McGinnis from doing the same.
Artis is doing a great job on McGinnis. I mean, he's giving back and pushing back and tugging. It's a real vendetta out there underneath the basket between McGinnis and Gilmore. I mean, Gilmore and Daniels.
Freeman works in for a nice 10-footer, but it won't fall. Freeman, a good position shooter. He takes the 10-12-foot shot, and this is Rick Mount in goaltending against Mel
the Colonels are running, Howard. Honestly, in my own mind, I can't help but believe that this is their best game. They can set their patterns when they get down, but they've got to run and put the pressure on the Pacers. The Pacers can't believe that they're running that much.
Here it is again. Mount shooting, and Daniels swatting it off the glass. We're back to live action. The Colonels on top 11-9. 8:15 to play in the opening quarter. Daniels and Gilmore waging war, and Mel goes to the hoop and then turns and shoots. His first two, and we are tied for the third time at 11.
That's a tough shot. You can't stop that shot. All you can do is holler and put your hand up, make him shoot over the picket fence and do a little praying perhaps, but he won't hit those consistently all night long. When you get a little tired, you lose that timing and that edge.
Dan saves it and then puts one up. McGinnis. George bopped around as Rick Mount and McGinnis tangled, and it goes against George McGinnis, his second. It was George the other night after he had lost the ball and then made the winning stuff shot, who said, if I would have missed that stuff, I would have just kept going right into the locker room. Louis Dampier, a long two for his first bucket. Make it 4 for Louis. 13-11 Kentucky, 7:15 first quarter. Daniels. It rolls off a crack. McGinnis and Sy comes down with it. The Colonels on the run. Dampier. And Kentucky has its biggest lead at 15-11 with the 7-minute mark approaching. Looking for McGinnis. George bombs one in. He has 7. 15-13. Freeman shadowing Mount. Artis with a pretty move for 2. 8 points for the big guy. 17-13 the Colonels.
It looks good. If Artis keeps making the move for the basket, pretty soon Daniels is going to have to be more aggressive and perhaps cause some fouls, and that would be on Colonel's side.
Knocked away by Mount. Those should step in and say, okay, let's hold it right here, fellas. They did not on Saturday until Mount and Freeman went to the floor in a swinging scuffle. 17-14, the guys in blue. Just over 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. McGinnis and Simon. Mount a long one, a 3. Tipped around, and it's Lewis. Now Freeman. Hillman in underneath, and Nardell Hillman pencils it up. 17-16, Kentucky.
It's been a pretty errorless game, but they have to be careful now because sooner or later those errors will count.
George McGinnis wants to take it all the way. Gets his rebound back and puts it in. The Pacers go back up. 18-17, 9 points for McGinnis.
You've got to stop him before he gets near the foul line. Once he gets there, he commits himself. He's going to go for the basket somewhere or another, and that time he did. Got the shot off, was short, came right back up with it and got the rebound.
Louis Dampier with a half jumper, and Louis is hitting well. He has 8. 19-18, Kentucky's way. 5 minutes in the opening quarter. Lewis with a dribble drive to the hoop. He gives it up to Daniels. Issel now on Daniels. And Simon does a nice job out-muscling McGinnis. Mount behind the back, dribble drive, and 2. Pretty move, Rick Mount.
That's good for the Colonels, for Mount to get his eye back. They need his shooting in there.
21-18 Kentucky. The Rocket has 4. 4.5 to play in the opening stop.
Try to work on Ron Thomas now because he's a pretty good pro, even though he's only been in the league 2 years, and George McGinnis.
Artis Gilmore controls it. 21-18 Kentucky. Gale, of course, back. This is only his second action since he caught an elbow under the eye and had eye surgery about 2 weeks ago. Issel over Hillman. Hillman blocks it.
This is one of the maneuvers by the Colonels in trying to free Dan Issel underneath the hoop. But what they do, Howard, they take Artis out so far neutralizes him. He can't get back in under the offensive board, and he's not a very good passer.
Dampier will come around. And they post Gilmore down low. Artis hook. Words for the Pacers. Kentucky has Gale and Dampier at guards. Issel and Thomas at forwards, and Gilmore in the middle. And Ron Thomas caused Donnie Freeman to walk. And now Donnie Freeman has a session with John Vanek, who says enough.
It was a good break for the Colonels because there was a mismatch there, and Gale was stuck with the big fella, and that would have been dangerous.
3:45 in the first quarter. Kentucky on top by 3. Lewis with a steal. Mike Gale gets it. Dampier a 3. And Louis bombs in his 11th point. The Colonels go up by 6, 24-18. 11 points for Dampier. And Daniels and Gilmore are parading around, locking elbows.
Freeman's getting position on Gale, too.
Daniels started to drive, tried to give it to McGinnis, and we'll have a jet ball bill. Artis got the tip, but Darnell Hillman ran the ball down. Keller. And now it's McGinnis.
Tension there, I believe. Elbowitis on that tough shot.
Dampier and Bill Keller, they have been friends and neighbors since the high school days.
Notice how far Artis is away from the hoop.
Issel. Dan shot hops in. His first 2. 26-18, the Colonels, their biggest edge. This is Boosie. He will not shoot. Keller dribbles into the corner, and then it's Daniels. Blocked by Gilmore, but there was the Booker from Detroit, Michigan. He now has 4 points. 26-20, Kentucky.
He's doing something a little different than he's done in the past games, Howard. He's taken the game to Artis. Before, he would play out front and away in the top half of the circle and try to get the ball to McGinnis and Brown and Hillman. But now he's going right in on Artis.
Pass headed for Louis Dirks, but in consensus opinion, the fellow holding the ball there, John Vanek, has probably done about the best job of the officials all year, and especially in the playoffs when they mean so much. He's controlled the game well, and he's been in position to call the big ones. Referee John Vanek, number 12.
Well, I agree with that, and sometimes I think ball clubs use the referee as a scapegoat because they lose. But if you just think of one thing, Howard, when 2 pro ball clubs play and make 43 errors between them, you can't really blame an official for losing.
Colonels gambled on defense. Mel Daniels was left free, and he popped it. 27-22. He has 6. A minute 15 to play, and Rick Mount is guarding the guy who has his old number with the Pacers. Mount puts it up, and he may have forced that one just a bit.
He forced that shot. That wasn't a very good shot.
Keller, and he races after his own rebound. McGinnis.
Pacers are gambling. They're going 4 men for the board. If the Colonels could just get the ball out and run as they did in the first few minutes, they could catch him down court with a great disadvantage of 3-on-2 or even 2-on-1.
Gilmore working 28-24, and the Pacers will probably keep it for the last shot as we have about 25 seconds to go in the quarter.
Bob Leonard's hollering to hold it. He's way out midcourt.
Keller is backed up almost to the midcourt line and now starts to move in with 10 seconds on the shot clock. They go to the big guy, Daniels. Thomas, the rebound, 7 seconds. seconds in the quarter, so the Pacers now will have the last shot again. Blocked, tipped around, 1 second, and no damage.
To escape at the end of the quarter without being scored on was a great block shot by Ron Thomas.
Boosie gets his own rebound and has it knocked away. So Kentucky will get the basketball.
Usually after a timeout like this, we can expect to see him run some pattern. The coach probably tells him, no, we're going to run this play or that play, and looks like this is what the Colonels are trying to do right now.
They go to Gilmore. Artis over Hillman for a nice two. Gilmore with 11, 30-24, and Mount gets the assist. There's some wicked picks being set up around the top of the key. The Pacer forwards come out and have been picking the Colonel guards. Roger Brown, and now Keller.
You know, it's almost like a game between the guys in the white hats and the guys in the black hats, because the Colonels up here are the nice guys and the Pacers are the villains, and they like them for them to be the villains up there. They like to see the Pacers crunch a ball club, not just beat them by a point or two.
They shake Rick Mount loose, and he passes it around the back. Daniels was there. Keller. Daniels has it knocked away. Go gets it himself. You see Simon force Brown to his left. Colonel's playing very good defense. But it doesn't bother Big Mel Daniels, who can kill you from around 10, 15 feet.
There's no defense for that kind of a shot. You just hope that he cools off, that's all.
30-26, Kentucky. 10-20 first half. Stolen by Brown. The Colonels turn it over the last two times down. Hillman.
Mount did a little shoving that time.
Mount wants his number 10 back. And Don Boosie is wearing it. 4-point edge, Kentucky. 10 seconds on the shot clock, and again, the Pacers come up with a basketball. Boosie walks with it, though.
Those errors are so important. You know, you make one or two, and you don't think much of them. All of a sudden, at the end of a ball game, you've got 23 or 24, and you get beat by a few points. You can look back and say, man, if we hadn't done that and done this, we could have won easily. That's 3 errors by 2 ball clubs really playing great game.
And that had Joe Mulaney standing and hollering. Issel peels. Issel has 3. The Colonels lead 31-26. Pinned in, and he is spending a lot of time underneath. 3 seconds, no, it's a walking violation. And we'll get our first look at Jimmy O'Brien as Rick Mount sits down.
Again, the defense.
Excuse me, John. This is the guy who's played over that layup 100 times, he said. He had a layup with about 3 seconds to go the other night. It rolled around and down and then came back out. And OB has thought about it over and over and over again.
He's a real pro. He'll forget about it. Those things happen.
Then Issel, a bit too aggressive. Rebound foul. And take that, Dan says.
I don't think I'd argue with an official tonight, Howard. I'd kind of use a little psychology on him and please him and smile at him and say, hey, you called a good foul. You know, these guys go and get it so far, and then all of a sudden they go start calling technicals and whatnot, and then you're in trouble.
A lot of switching on defense, and now Gilmore and Brown are at each other. Hillman. Dr. Dunk, they call him. 31-28. And he took a pretty good shot from Dan Issel underneath us. The two were vying for position.
Well, I think Dan lost his poise for a moment. He was still mad at that foul that wasn't called on him down below, or there was call on him, rather. And he just pushed in frustration down here.
Issel counters. He has 5, 33-28. Kentucky 8-10 in the first half. A lot of switching on defense as Boosie pumps. Artis picks it up and tried to get it to Dampier. It was short. it to OB. Simon underneath. No good. Hillman now has it. Lucy tripped down the lane. Mel Daniels, and now Keller. Gilmore. And now Dampier. Jimmy O'Brien saves it, and he goes up into the press row. Gilmore. Artist moved to the hoop and a dunk. Great. A tremendous exchange of basketball before Artist Gilmore slam dunks one in. 35, 28, 13 for the big guy from Jacksonville.
We found Daniels leaning the wrong way.
35-30 as we approach the 7-minute mark in the first half. They're trying to get it to Gilmore. Side baseline jumper. 37-30 Kentucky. Simon with 2.
Now this is the way basketball should be played. They're fast breaking when the opportunity presents itself, but then they're also working good on pattern. 3 seconds.
Mel Daniels with Ledner is number 4. 37-30 Kentucky. 6:20 in the half. O'Brien tried to draw the foul and did not. Freeman to Lewis. 37-32. Lewis with 4. Ladner and Brown in the corner, and Gilmore pulled way out. Issel with McGinnis defending, and Issel muscles it up, and George McGinnis takes a seat. 7 points for Issel, 39-32. There are those picks that Louis Dampier just ran into with Roger Brown. Lewis charges into Wendell Ladner, and there's a lot of acting going on out on the floor. That time, Ladner gets the Emmy. Here it is again. Wendell alertly turned, planted himself, sort of, and then said, "Oh my goodness, this little 6-footer just set me on the seat of my pants."
I bet he said more than that.
Back to live action. Kentucky by 7. Mike Gale in for Jimmy O'Brien. Gilmore won't go down, and I think that's the first one that Artis has missed, maybe second. Lewis. Brown is free underneath. Brownie has 2, 39-34. Issel. And that one took a long time to get there. Issel has 9, 41-34, 4:40 first half.
If he finds a range that consistently, that'll take a lot of pressure off of Artis.
The ball bounds off Daniels, and Issel gets it from Dampier. Nice play by Freeman, but Issel was just too strong for him. Freeman got his hand on top of the ball, but Issel muscles it in. 43-34, 9-point edge, the biggest the Colonels have enjoyed. McGinnis rebound, and he follows it up. Technical foul.
Neither one of them is complaining, so they like to play that way. I don't think they'll do that. What they'll do is keep an eye now on some guy from the bench or someone getting up and saying something, and they'll try to call another.
24-37 as we duck under the 4-minute mark. Our halftime guest tonight, the big likable guy out of Akron, Ohio, Gus Johnson. Lewis. He now has 7, 44-39. It's Gale and Dampier, Gilmore, Ladner, and Issel across the front line for the Colonels. Ladner. McGinnis. And watch Lewis direct this attack down. They They go to Issel. Issel with a great effort, but it was a difficult shot. Lewis.
That's such a good touch. I don't deny him shooting those shots. There's a man
Issel
with
goes
good hands.
up and it rolls away, and Issel and Gilmore battle for it, and Issel wins and scores and is fouled. One-on-one break like that, you don't have to foul a man. If he's not in position, let him take the shot. No sense in going after him. And Dan had to run down the ball in the corner and wasn't going to get a good shot, but I believe it was Lewis who was back there. Let him take it rather than to reach.
Courage, look, you say, I don't care what I say. If I get mad at you, keep shooting, because if he doesn't score, you don't win.
Jimmy O'Brien came in and he took the intentional foul on Lewis. That is just the third team foul of the period for the Colonel, so they have a couple to waste. 47-40 Kentucky, 8 points for Freddie Lewis. The Colonel's back to full strength as far as people at guards. They have 4. Mike Gale still concerned about that eye a bit as Ladner launches one from downtown Indianapolis, and O'Brien, the 6-footer, stuck his head up, got the basketball and the basket. Here's the...
You get the griping and complaining to officials in there, you forget about playing. And perhaps he feels this is what Lewis has done. He's forgot to play, so worried about trying to get to the officials to talk to them or looking for an even-up foul.
Well, John, I think he committed the cardinal sin there in letting Jimmy O'Brien get that ball unmolested and put it back in, and now Boosie's out there bird-dogging OB.
He's a pretty good defensive player, that young man, Boosie, but listen, there isn't a basketball player living hasn't made a mistake.
Jimmy O'Brien jumper. And Kentucky goes up 51-40 as we step under the 2-minute mark. This is the biggest edge for the Colonel. He showed great poise early in the year when we were up here, and with the Colonel trailing by 1, intercepted a pass and then took it down the floor, turned it into 2, and gave Indiana a victory. 51-41. Kentucky led by 4 at the quarter, for those of you who joined us late, 28-24. It's been a high-scoring game as this series has gone. Mike Gale's shot, thinks about it a bit, and then drops. Gale's first 2.
Great smart move by Gale because he got over to get the ball from O'Brien and got the shot. O'Brien was tied up.
Again, a nice bit of acting. Mike Gale sat down, and they called it on the Pacers an alert play by the second-year pro out of Elizabeth City. 53-41, a minute 20 to play in the half. Look at Freeman and Issel. Ladner. And Boosie lets it go out of bounds. And there's the case. Wendell did not set for the shot. It wasn't a bad shot, but he... Daniels, trip to the hoop, and Mel walks with it. And they are standing and steaming at referee John Vanek, and there's one fellow on the far side, John, who is just all over him.
Probably a shareholder or stockholder in the Indiana Pacers ball club. They got choice seats, so you've got to be somebody big in the club.
Kentucky by 12, 45 seconds in the half. Brown, a rebound. O'Brien going for the steal, but Brown heard him coming. Hillman. A lot of shots.
In college, and he had to do that in the Big Ten, or at his size, you wouldn't be in there long.
And you hate to see this happen, especially because Mike Gale is on that floor with the stitches still in the eyeball socket. 5 points now for Freeman, 53-43. We're in the final 25 seconds of the half.
Obviously, the Colonels are going to hold the ball now for one shot, but who are they going to get the ball to? That's the important thing, because this could be a big basket if they could score.
O'Brien starts down, then heads back. 10 seconds. Jimmy O'Brien drops it in with 5 seconds to go. He has 6. And Boosie lobs one up out of the prayer ball. Freeman's backcourt, Hillman and McGinnis in the corners. Here we go. Freeman and Daniels will challenge Gilmore.
That was intimidation there. He tried to shoot over Artis and was short.